Good morning. I want to thank everybody for showing up here this great day in Pennsylvania. I'm Vern Ross. I'm Vice President of the National Wild Turkey Federation Board in South Carolina. I'm also the Executive Director of Wildlife for Everyone Endowment Foundation here in Pennsylvania. I'd like to introduce my fellow co-host here today. On this side of me is Carl Rowe. He's the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Game Commission. On this side of me is Rob Fulton. He's the President and the CEO of the Pennsylvania Association of Travel and Tourism. Way over here, this young lady, this is Janet Nyce. She's a member of the Governor's Sportsman Advisory Council. And we're glad to have Janet with us. As most Pennsylvanians know, when it becomes hunting season here in Pennsylvania, it's very important to all of us, but it's very important to business and industry in the state of Pennsylvania. No matter where you go, you see the sign out, "Welcome Hunters." Could be a gas station, convenience store, restaurants, motel, hardware stores, and other retailers across this great state of Pennsylvania. We've all seen these Welcome Hunter signs. They're outside of so many businesses in the state of Pennsylvania. And when we look at this, we say this is revenue, because I, as a hunter, when I see these signs out, I know I'm welcome to go there. The reason we're here today is to highlight and draw attention to the positive impact that hunting has on jobs and the economy here in Pennsylvania. To do that, we are announcing today a newly formed partnership called Hunting Works for Pennsylvania. Hunting Works for Pennsylvania in a broad partnership of businesses and organizations representing traditional and non-traditional economic supporters of hunting. Included in this partnership are Chamber of Commerce, Retail Association, Travel and Tourism Association, Economic Development, and other state, regional, and local associations. Original hunting retailers like Cabela's, the Sportsman's Shop in New Holland, and many others are part of this organization. The hospitality industry, restaurants, hotels, resorts, gas stations, convenience stores, guides and outfitters, and one of the most important factors is the hunters in the state of Pennsylvania. Pro-hunting and shooting organizations, because many citizens of Pennsylvania don't entirely understand the connection between the economic impacts that hunting has on the state of Pennsylvania. Here in Pennsylvania, our mission with Hunting Works for Pennsylvania is to promote and highlight the strong economic partnerships between the hunting community and the economy of Pennsylvania. Today we're going to hear from just a few of our partners and leaders. They're going to talk about how the hunting industry impacts their livelihoods and their employees and members. First, we're going to hear from Carl Rowe. Carl is the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Game Commission. He's a great voice for hunters and outdoorsmen and women. Next, we'll hear from Rob Fulton. Rob is President and CEO of the Pennsylvania Association of Travel and Tourism and is the co-chair of Hunting Works for Pennsylvania. Rob will discuss how hunting and shooting sports impact Pennsylvania's bottom line. And then we're going to hear from Janet Nyce. Janet is a small business owner here in Pennsylvania. She also is an accomplished hunter, a shooter, and an outdoors woman, and a member of the Governor's Sportsman Advisory Council. Janet is also a fellow co-chair of Hunting Works for Pennsylvania. Before I hand it over to Rob and Janet, I just want to discuss a little bit as to why I decided to get involved with Hunting Works for Pennsylvania as a co-chair. I was first approached to be part of Hunting Works for Pennsylvania, and I heard what the organization is all about. I thought, what a great idea. Pennsylvania has almost 1 million hunters, and we all have great hunting stories and traditions that we share every year around the campfire. We tell the same stories year in and year out. We may add a little to it or take a little bit away, but mostly we add to our stories. What we're striving to do here today and going forward is to tell the story about the good that hunting does for our heritage, economy, jobs, and tax revenue. It's a great story that I'm proud to help tell. Now I'd like to hand it over to Carl Rowe. Carl?
Thank you, Vern. Hunting does work for Pennsylvania in a variety of ways. Clearly, we have a great hunting and trapping tradition that has lasted over 115 years in Pennsylvania. We kind of take that for granted on many days, and in fact, we oriented or focus on that as being a recreational opportunity. But that recreational opportunity translates into a $1.4 billion, not million, billion-dollar industry here in Pennsylvania. That's only part of the issue of how hunting works for Pennsylvania. I'm going to give a little bit of a tangent here. Hunting works for Pennsylvania because hunters pay for the services the Game Commission provides to all the citizens of Pennsylvania. When we get a phone call from a citizen for service, we don't ask if you have a hunting license. We provide that service, and the economic impact of that hunting dollar, those hunting dollars from our hunters and trappers, pay for the services, which is a multiplier effect on that side of the ledger also. Another way hunting works for Pennsylvania is, as many of you know, we receive Pittman-Robertson funds. That's money on the excise tax, on the ammunition, guns, and hunting equipment that are purchased by the hunters of Pennsylvania. That money comes back now to the federal government, and this year it amounted to almost $20 million in our budget. Hunting works for Pennsylvania in a variety of ways. The economic impact in our rural communities is absolutely enormous during our hunting season. Interestingly enough, it's not only in the northern tier, it's also in the southern tier now, as more and more hunters are staying at home, using local tourism as opposed to more rural tourism that they used to use in the past. The economic impact of our 1.3 million hunters is felt every year. Come mid-September, when the first hunting season starts in the southeast part of the state and over in Pittsburgh, that economic impact starts to flow. And it flows for 6 months out of the year till the end of January, when our hunting season stops for the most part. Then we get a bump again in May on our spring turkey season. These are really important issues for economies that are hanging on in tough economic times. Our hunters are critical of that. They know their role. They enjoy the outdoors. They're willing to spend their money for the thing that they love to do in Pennsylvania, and that is hunting. Penn's Woods provides that great opportunity. That great hunting and trapping tradition stems from 300-400 years ago, continues today, because hunting works for Pennsylvania, and it will continue to work for Pennsylvania as a recreational environment, and equally important as an economic impact throughout the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Now I'd like to call on Rob Fulton. Rob?
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for being here. As Vern said, my name is Rob Fulton. I'm the president of the Pennsylvania Association of Travel and Tourism, located here in Harrisburg. Our organization works to help promote Pennsylvania's diverse travel and tourism industry. Hunters travel our state each year, staying in local hotels, dining in local restaurants, and shopping in local stores. I'm here today because hunting provides much economic activity here in Pennsylvania. The National Survey of Fishing, Hunting, and Wildlife Associated Recreation reports that hunters spend over $61.5 million in food and lodging in Pennsylvania. With a number like that, it's really a no-brainer for the Pennsylvania Association of Travel and Tourism to get involved. As Vern mentioned, we have almost 1 million hunters in Pennsylvania. To give you some facts on the size and scope of hunting here in the state, I'd like to share some numbers with you from a report called Hunting in America, an economic force for conservation. Hunters spend almost $986 million a year in pursuit of their sport. This is lodging, dining, transportation, and fuel costs, equipment costs, and other gear that hunters need while afield. Hunting creates over 15,000 Pennsylvania jobs and supports salaries and wages to the tune of $529 million. These jobs come in all forms. They can be urban or rural, at sporting and non-sporting realtors. These jobs represent a cross-section of Pennsylvania's economy. Hunters in Pennsylvania contribute over $121 million in state and local taxes and almost $137 million in federal taxes. This tax money is used to help pay for conservation efforts and other initiatives. At the end of the day, the impact of hunting on Pennsylvania's economy is over $1.6 billion annually. Hunting is an economic engine here in Pennsylvania. Many businesses across the state cater to hunters, and many exist because of hunting. And I'm not just talking about sporting goods stores. It's also hotels, motels, restaurants, convenience stores, gas stations, and countless other businesses that generate a lot of income when hunters come to town. One of the most important things for our association is this idea of creating jobs. We've really worked hard to try to link what travel and tourism does and what hunting does to not only sustaining jobs but creating jobs. When we look at the broader picture of travel and tourism in Pennsylvania, it's a $37.2 billion business. One out of every 16 jobs in this state is supported by travel and tourism, and to a large extent through the efforts with the hunting support. And out of every 400 visitors that come to visit Pennsylvania, whether through hunting or other activities, that tends to create one new job for Pennsylvania. So we're very proud of that. In closing, the Pennsylvania Association of Travel and Tourism exists, as I said, to promote travel and tourism across Pennsylvania. And with the amount of hunters we have and the economic activity that hunting brings to our industry, and so many other activities and businesses, it makes sense for us to be a part of Hunting Works for Pennsylvania. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Before I introduce this next speaker, she's a special lady. I know we say, well, can women really hunt? I can tell you this much right now. I've been around Janet for quite a few years. She is quite a hunter. She not only hunts in Pennsylvania, she hunts all over the world. She's a big member of the Safari Club. And if I was to name the different organizations this lady belonged to, it would take me all day to announce them. So Janet, without further ado, it's your turn.
Thank you so much. My name is Janet Nyce. I'm a housewife from Perry County. I'm really excited to see a lot of familiar faces in the audience, especially some of my favorite legislators. I'm very happy to be here today to celebrate the value and worth of being a Pennsylvania hunter. It has changed my life in ways that you can hardly put on a list. My husband and I were high school sweethearts, and then we chose to marry. We went to the courthouse to get our wedding license, and then he took me to the Game Commission office. I said, "What for?" He said, "You are getting a hunting license." I said, "What for?" He said, "Because you're going hunting with me." And that began our journey. And within that journey, I learned so many wonderful things. We are so lucky to be here in Pennsylvania. This is one of the richest states with their natural resources. The only thing we're missing is sandy beaches and an ocean front. We have everything else. I'm very proud to be part of this group. I think it's time we told our wonderful story. And I want to also bounce off of what Ron was talking about the federal excise taxes. Hunters pay them every year, and the taxes, fees, and surcharges that we pay when we buy a license or a new piece of equipment are used to fund our conservation efforts here in Pennsylvania. The tax dollars pay for conservation for both game and non-game. The nature reserves that are enjoyed by every citizen in Pennsylvania, and those dollars help keep Pennsylvania a beautiful state that we are. Through the Pittman-Robertson Act, which is a federal excise tax of firearms and ammunition, Pennsylvania will receive $20 million this year, earmarked to go back into the landscape of Pennsylvania. As hunters and outdoorsmen and women, we're also conservationists. When hunters spend money, it's not just to our benefit or benefit businesses, but it's also to benefit all Pennsylvania who enjoy the outdoors. As a conservationist, a hunter, an outdoorswoman, educating people on the benefits that our sport brings to Pennsylvania is very important to me. Because of its mission of educating people on the benefits of hunting, I'm very excited to be involved and help promote Hunting Works in Pennsylvania. It's good to see you all. Thank you for coming out, and I'm sure we'll see you again. Thanks.
Thanks, Janet. One gentleman that couldn't be here today was Joe Kiefer. Joe owns a sportsman shop down in New Holland, Pennsylvania, and today he's running the shooting expo. He has over 2,000 people coming into his shop today, so unfortunately he couldn't be here. Some of the things you heard here today, we're very proud to be hunters, and we're very proud of what we do for the economy of the state of Pennsylvania. When you take a look at Pennsylvania, we're the leaders. Only one state I know of sells more hunting licenses than us, and that's Texas. But, you know, I go back years ago when I had a grandson who wanted to go hunting in Clinton. He was 11 years old, and he said to me at the time, he goes, "Pap, when can I go hunting?" I said, "When you turn 12. That started the youth mentoring hunt here in the state of Pennsylvania. That young lad, when he looked at me, and he looked up in the air like that, and he said to me, "You make the rules, change them." We did get them changed. We have mentoring youth coming into the state of Pennsylvania. They will carry on this grand tradition that you see up here, or the different signs of the different money coming back into the economy of the state of Pennsylvania. We're all proud to be hunters. I know at my age, when hunting season comes, I get that nervous feeling in my stomach, because I know it's not long off that I'm going to be in Penn's Woods. We want to thank everybody for coming here today, but we would like for you to make sure that you get onto our website, and that website is www.huntingworksforpa.com. We thank you for coming here today, and if you have any questions, we'd be more than willing to take them. Thank you.